NICKELL, ROBEY, COLEMAN. Slot god awful. Cut. Snip. NICKELL, cut. He is not going to be back in green. And this really breaks my heart because I was sold on NICKELL. If you guys were following me before this past season, when we signed NICKELL, I was like, ooh, we got the slot god. You know, NICKELL scrappy, supposed to be. He's really an undersized guy. He's not versatile at all. He's god awful in the slot. He can't play on the outside because of his size. He was really a liability for us this season. Slot god awful. That's why I got cut. Go back where you came from. Okay. What's up? What's happening? What's popping? What's going on, my people? Welcome back to another great episode of Symone with the Sports. I'm Symone, bringing you guys the sports. So if you are new here or if you are old here and haven't subscribed for whatever reason, please help me out. Help me reach my goal, guys. I got a goal to reach 2,000 subscribers by the end of the month. You guys have been blessing me tremendously these last couple of days with the subs. I just be like, oh, you subbed me up. You subbed me up. How kind, how kind. But I just need about 30 of you to sub. So thank you, potential 30 subs. Also, guys, make sure you like this video. Make sure you comment. You know how I do. Subscribe. And there's also a link in my description box if you want to buy me a copy to help fuel the channel and help fuel this Eagles off season, because this Eagles off season, like I keep reiterating in all of my videos, is going to be a movie. So guys, we got to talk about the draft. We got to talk about free agency. We got to talk about the coaching changes. We got to talk about the schemes, what our offense, what our defense is going to look like. But right now, up until April, what we have to talk about is the draft, and we have to talk about free agency, because our team is not just looking different on the clipboard when it comes to the coaching staff. It's going to be looking different, hitting different when it comes to the roster as well. Guys, we got 18 free agents this season, this off season, and a lot of them going to have to get cut. So in this episode, we doing cut or keep. Who we cutting? Snip, snip. I'm being ruthless with the cuts now. Y'all know I don't be playing that nice all the time. But then we got some guys, you know, okay, we can keep you. Because listen, our cap is a mess. Our cap is a mess. So some of the guys, we got to keep just off the strength of the fact that we can't sign nobody else for that low of a price. A lot of these guys, our free agency class this season, call it a class if you want to, I don't know what you call it. Our free agency group this season is one of the lowest valued. We have the lowest, a group of the lowest valued free agents, which is good and bad. Because it's bad because a lot of these guys we got to keep, meaning our roster is still going to be looking abysmal. But it's also good because some of these guys we can re-sign for that low because no other teams want them anyway. Okay, so cut or keep, you guys, that's the theme. Okay, so let's start with Jason Peters. Cut. Cut. He should have never been here this season. Cut. Snip, snip, Pete. Snip, snip. Go. I saw somebody mention that maybe Jason Peters could come back as a coach. Sure, that'd be great, especially since we kept Stoutland. Jason Peters got the skill set. The Hall of Famer, gonna be Eagles Hall of Famer. Yeah, wonderful offensive tackle. He's just old now. He's taking snaps away from these younger guys. He's injury prone. We're straight. We're gonna have Andre Dillard back. We have Brandon Brooks. Jordan Mailata's looking like a stud. So Jason Peters, just say no room for you in this budget. Cut. Bye. See you at the Hall of Fame ceremony. Moving on. Jalen Mills. Now this one is kind of tough. Jalen Mills is kind of tough. Obviously, Jalen Mills is somebody we retained from our Super Bowl defense. Jalen Mills is a guy, he was on a 1-year contract this past season. He is one of our highest graded free agents, but we will be able to retain him for a low price just because of the inconsistency kind of with Jalen Mills. But Jalen Mills is a great guy to have on your roster if you're a coach, because he is a guy that can play multiple positions and he's willing to step up. We had to move him to safety. He played corner for us this past season, and he's just been willing to rise to the occasion. So Jalen Mills, he has let me go over his stats. So he has 74 tackles this season, 4 tackles for a loss, 3 passes defended, 1 forced fumble, and 5 quarterback hurries. Out of the 78 safeties in the NFL, he was 9th in completion percentage at 58% and 18th in quarterback rating, and he is tied for 16th in sacks. So mind you, this was his first time playing safety since LSU, and like I said, he rose to the occasion. He's inconsistent sometimes, but I think he's a guy we're going to keep for the cheap, and I think he likes to bleed green. I mean, he dyed his hair green. And also, let's not forget that our new defense of coordinator, Jonathan Gannon, shout outs to me for remembering the names, guys, because there's so many new names to remember. Jonathan Gannon is a DB guy, and I know Jalen is a safety for us, but who knows, Jalen might move back to a corner, because obviously NICKELL is a guy we're gonna get to later, but he is a DB specialist, so who knows, maybe he can really bring Jalen to his full potential, because Jalen still is a younger kind of guy, so he'll probably stay. Nate Sudfield, bye. Snip, snip. Need I say more? Just a hot mess. Okay, and we know if Carson Wentz is gonna be running the show, we know this is no shade, because I know some of you guys act like Carson Wentz is your baby or something. Like you guys be protecting Carson with your life. So don't take any shade here, but we already know Carson has injury problems. Don't take it personal, guys. Don't start getting in your feelings. It's facts. We won a Super Bowl with a backup quarterback, and Nate Sudfield is not a guy I want in my backup. That's not a guy I want in my saddle. Nate Sudfield, bye, peace, cut the crap, cut the crap. NICKELL ROBEY Coleman, slot god awful, cut, snip, snip, snip. NICKELL, cut. He is not going to be back in green, and this really breaks my heart, because I was sold on NICKELL. If you guys were following me before this past season when we signed NICKELL, I was like, ooh, we got the slot god. You know, NICKELL's scrappy, supposed to be. He's really an undersized guy. He's not versatile at all. He's god-awful in the slot. He can't play on the outside because of his size. He was really a liability for us this season. Slot god-awful. That's why I cut, go. Go back where you came from, okay? Vinny Curry. Vinny Curry is probably a guy who's going to stay just because for depth. He's a cheap guy. He's got good ties to Philly. He is obviously a defensive lineman. We can use him in the rotation just as a cheap veteran. So I think we're going to keep Vinny Curry. Stay Vinny for the low. HASSAN Ridgeway. Okay, so it's looking like Malik Jackson might be a goner. He might be flying the coop. So I think HASSAN, he's a bubble guy. He could stay or he could go. He could stay for that depth. If we, you know, let Malik Jackson go, or he could go to save room. He's on the bubble. He could stay or go. I'm gonna say just stay because he's gonna be dirt cheap, and you know, we can use depth on the D-line. The D-line was really our bread and butter this past season. The D-line was the only one that was performing on a consistent basis. Kravon LeBlanc, he can stay. Good depth piece. He steps up. He makes good plays. Good depth piece in a secondary that's going to be looking slim. Like I said, we just cut NICKELL. We need someone opposite of Darius Slade. Kravon is a guy who can step up, play in the slot, play on the outside. He's a good depth piece. We still probably need to, not probably, we have to either sign someone, make whatever freaking room how we can make in the cap, and sign someone, a top corner beside Darius Slade, or we have to draft one early. But that's a conversation for another video. Richard Rodgers will probably stay because Zach Ertz is probably going to get traded. That's a combo for another video. We speculated on that earlier, but since Zach Ertz is probably going to be gone, we'll have Dallas Goedert. Richard Rodgers will probably stay as a depth piece, and we might either sign a tight end for the low free agency market. I'm not going to say it because I wanted to say before another video, but when we get to the free agents we might sign a tight end, or we can get a tight end late in the draft. So Richard Rodgers is probably going to be a stay. Duke Riley. He had 55 tackles this year, and he also had his first interception. Okay, he's probably going to stay. The linebacker group obviously is dismal, and we're going to get to our big cut in the linebacker group. Obviously, MICAH Parsons is a guy at the draft that I want to see in the Eagles linebacker group. you know, really leading, can help really lead our defense and turn that around. Duke Riley, I think, is a guy that's going to stay for the low. We're going to get to the linebacker cuts. You know, y'all know who we cut in later. But I think Duke Riley is probably someone who's going to stay for the cheap. He still has potential. He didn't totally suck for us. So we'll see him probably staying. Corey Clement, Corey Cement, bye. He peaked at the Philly special. Bye. Cut. Corey Clement. Bye. Cut that. Corey off. It ain't nothing. Okay? Cameron Johnston. Okay, obviously our punter. We use that leg a lot. Cameron is definitely going to stay. We need that big punting energy. You guys all know all them 3 and outs we been through. Cameron had our back. So Cameron Johnston is probably going to stay. Shout out to you, Cameron, for holding us down and getting us, you know, some good field position, putting, you know, the defense in some good field position. Shout out to you, Cameron. Jason Croom. Cut. He had 1 catch. He caught 1 pass, and the 1 pass was for a touchdown. But cut. Jason Croom. Cut. Just haven't seen nothing from him. But that touchdown, appreciate that though. But cut. Jason Croom. Rudy Ford. So Rudy Ford is obviously a guy that's a special teamer. It's kind of a stay or go for me. He's really on the bubble. That's why I'm like, Now our special teams group was terrible last season. We didn't make any big plays on special teams, and mind you, during our Super Bowl era, we were making big plays on special teams. So maybe he is a guy who could stay, and we kind of try to revamp that special teams unit. So I can see him staying or going. He's pretty much just a special teams guy for us. So it could go either way, because like I said, we keep him, it's gonna be for the cheap. And who we gonna sign to fill that role? He barely even really had a big role. Boston Scott will most likely stay. He definitely stepped up for us. A guy who's very tenacious, does not believe in any mixed matches. He uses his body, even though it's small, in big ways. Obviously, he took down the Giants and had that clutch pass for us. Boston Scott is a guy who's got the grit. He's got the aggressiveness. He's probably going to stay. And, of course, he's going to stay for the low. Obviously, the run game is something that's going to get picked up in 2021. I know a lot of you guys are excited about that because of our new coach and our new offensive coordinator are really guys that emphasize the run game, and they like to get the running backs involved in a lot of passing plays like they did with the Colts. So we definitely can see Boston Scott getting active, much more active, and alongside Miles Sanders. I would like to see us get a running back either for the cheap in free agency, or get a running back like a real powerful, heavy back in the draft, later in the draft. So we're going to talk about that when we get to some more draft videos. Joshua Perkins. He's going to have to go. Never really healthy, never really there, never really hearing his name. Go. He ain't worth the money. He ain't worth it. Nate Gerry. Linebacker, go. Bye. Snip, Nate. Snip. Nate, go, Ree. Nate, goodbye, Ree. I know a lot of y'all gonna take a big sigh of relief. Nate Gerry is just be looking lost in the sauce. Go take that energy somewhere else. I'll be surprised if Nate gets picked up by anybody once we cut him, which is sad. But that linebacker room need a reset, okay? And Nate gotta go. Let's talk about Alex Singleton. So Alex Singleton, he led our team in tackles. He's also a great run defender. He's growing, maturing, and like I said, we've got a new defensive coordinator in Jonathan Gannon, so he can see maybe if he can unlock something with Alex Singleton. He was definitely the most consistent guy for us when it came to the linebacker room. He will be a free agent, obviously, and I think we're going to re-sign Alex Singleton. I mean, he was the leader of the not exceptional bunch, but he's still, you know, he made some big plays for us. And like I said, he's good at the run defense, something we definitely going to want to keep up in 2021. So I can see him staying for the left. Greg Ward. Now, Greg Ward obviously is a fan favorite. You guys love Greg Ward. Okay, Greg Ward obviously made some big plays for us. He's been our #1 receiver during certain periods of time. He's a guy who's never, I mean, we just use him all over the field, and he just steps up. Greg Ward, let's talk about his stats. So 419 yards and 6 touchdowns. You know, he made his name really for us as a slot receiver. We're definitely going to be drafting a wide receiver, so it's really not that much competition in the wide receiver room for him. And guys, I'm gonna do a whole video on a wide receiver rebuild, the wide receiver room rebuild. But Greg Ward, I know he's a guy who's probably going to stay because it's not that much competition in the wide receiver room. And even if we draft a wide receiver, I still think Greg Ward, at least this season, is going to have a home for him in Philly. So guys, that's all my cuts and stays. You know, we got to gut this team a little bit as much as we can to make some room for the, you know, against that cap. And we want a winning team. We want to build a winning team. Some of these guys, they got to go in order to do that. So let me know what you guys think. Did I cut anybody you wanted to keep? Did I keep anybody you wanted to cut? And for my bubble guys, let me know. Are you going to keep them? Or are you going to cut them? And we're going to keep continuing this conversation throughout the season. So guys, make sure you, throughout the off season, make sure you like, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe, turn the notification bells, because this rebuild series is coming like boom, 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 boom. Pretty much almost every day it's going to be an Eagles video talking about some stuff we got to talk about this off season. So make sure you like this video, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe, and keep back with me. Bye.